I know thy works, and tribulation, and poverty, but thou art rich. Welcome to the Black Excellence and Abundance Channel. Beneath the city streets that travelers walk on each day, dark labyrinths of underground catacombs are passageways to the past, to a time when the ghostly tunnels served as burial grounds for millions of people.
The Catacombs of Rome, which date back to the 1st century and were among the first ever built, were constructed as underground tombs, first by Jewish communities and then by Christian communities. There are only 6 known Jewish catacombs and around 40 or more Christian catacombs.
Situated in what was a quarry in Roman times, the Catacombs of Priscilla were used for underground Christian burials from the late 2nd century through the 4th century. The catacombs extend for roughly 13 kilometers, or roughly 8 miles, on several levels. In ancient Rome, it was not permitted for bodies to be buried within the city walls. So while pagans cremated their dead, Christians who were not legally allowed to practice their religion turned to underground cemeteries built beneath land owned by the city's few rich Christian families.
The Jewish population was already implementing this practice when Christians began to do so around the 2nd century.
In the Catacombs of Rome, there are many different pieces of artwork. Most artworks are religious in nature, some depicting important Christian rites such as baptism or religious scenes and stories such as the story of the 3 Hebrews and the fiery furnace, or biblical figures such as Adam and Eve. There is also artwork of the Last Supper pictures. 2nd century catacombs of the Messiah and his disciples. And yes, it's true, they were all black. The Bible even makes mention of the whitewashing of...
We didn't serve any man, and he was just a prophet who was teaching, and there were many prophets that taught the same thing, okay, and similar things before that one, all right, and his name was not Mr. J. We did not serve him, all right. It really was Shem's Enoch, which really is still the wrong name. So we don't even know his real name, and we did not serve him. The Creator is the only one we serve, because only the Creator is the one that is worth serving. Okay? And we had first Maccabees on top of that.
Biblical figures, and this can be found in the Apocrypha in King James. First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48. And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. The earliest surviving Christian art is preserved on the walls of tombs belonging to wealthy Christians in the Catacombs of Rome. However, like almost all paintings from classical times, these have disappeared. Possibly the earliest known image of the Virgin Mary is a fresco dated about 150.
What's up? She was not a virgin. She had sex with her husband. Her name was not Mary. And they conceived a baby that the Creator sent. The Creator has sent all of us, okay, his chosen, his children. I should say he sent all his children. He knew you before you was in your mother's womb, or before he sent you. So let's not go that way. Of course, the way they're showing you is the pagan way, where they turned around and said that something came from the sky and she was a virgin. And it's a bullshit lie. Back in those days, we knew what immaculate conception was. Immaculate conception is when a man and woman gets the boogie on, and after they finish, the Creator either decides to let them have a child or does not decide to let them have a child. Immaculate Conception. Every child is what we like to call a miracle. Now let's start playing games.
CE in the Catacombs of Priscilla on the Via Salaria in Rome that shows her nursing the infant Jesus on her lap, along with other biblical images that include Jonah, who's 3 days in the belly of the whale, Daniel in the lion's den, the 3 Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or as I like to say, a bad Negro in the fiery furnace. The image of the Good Shepherd, a beardless youth in pastoral scenes collecting sheep. Among the earliest depictions, clearly intended to directly represent Jesus himself, are many showing him as a baby.
They show one of the prophets. His name is not Mr. J. So let's stop that. And we did not serve Mr. J. All the prophets were black. Even the false prophet, Mr. J, who was kidnapped from us as a baby, a child, was brought to Rome or to the Pope at the time, and the Pope brainwashed him into that Christianity. By the age he was young, he could teach Christianity better than they could, and they brainwashed him to make him believe that he was a Messiah, okay? And they raised him up and they praised him. You can look this up. They didn't just do that with a black one. They did it with a white one named Anthony something. You can look that up too. They did it with a whole bunch of Mr. J's. They had so many Mr. J's that it wasn't even funny. Yeah, they done tried everything you could think about. Just think about it, they tried.
Usually held by his mother, especially in the adoration of the Magi. In the Roman catacombs, Jesus, Mary, and the apostles are depicted as African people.
What you should say is all the people, all the apostles were depicted as not African, because we're not African, as brown-skinned people.
Images of King David and King Solomon found in the catacombs of Russia, as well as Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, are all depicted as black.
Naga and Nagret. Naga and Nagret. Remember, Naga and Nagret. Not Adam in that bullshit name. Adon, pronunciation, was a white slave who the devil made them dig for gold. That's right, he made them. He made all the Gentiles. Anyways, he made them dig for gold, and then told them to take saddies off to count his gold. You can look this up.
Why is this? The Christian catacombs are extremely important for the art history of early Christian art, as they contain the great majority of examples before about 400 AD, in fresco and sculpture, as well as gold glass medallions. These, like most bodies, have been removed. Fresco painting is a method of painting water-based pigments on applied plaster, usually on wall surfaces, the colors which are made by grinding. An early representation of Christ found in the catacomb of Domitilla shows the figure of Christ flanked by a group of his disciples or students. Christ, draped in classical garb, holds a scroll in his left hand, while his right hand is outstretched in the gesture of the order.
The following are more images found in the catacombs of Russia and Paris. One of the most, if not the most, significant facts about the catacombs is that they took place during the 1st and 2nd century. Some 1,200 years before the European Renaissance. The Renaissance was a fervent period of European culture, artistic, political, and economic rebirth following the Middle Ages. Generally, described as taking place from the 14th to the 17th century. The Renaissance promoted the rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and art in Europe. Centuries before, the changing.
Now see the black picture that they do the two fingers, and the guy put number 6. Unfortunately, there were black Gentiles back there too. So you see two pictures back then of black Gentiles doing those 6 and the double horn. Same thing Mr. J did. I'm sorry you had to see that, but that's what you just saw. Two black Gentiles. All skin folk ain't pen folk. They sold it for a reason. So now you know that all these pictures, they were black until they turned around and made them white. And once again, thank you for watching. All praise to Creator.
Thanks for
Nobody
watching.
else.